All right, good afternoon. Welcome on this beautiful day to the Wilmington Rotary Club, where we work together, unite for good, where we can make Wilmington a place we can all thrive. Please stand, and we'll begin our meeting with the invocation and pledge from Peter Miller.
Thank you, David. So let us take a moment to pause and reflect. As we gather today in fellowship, we give thanks for the opportunities before us to serve, to lead, and to make a difference in our community. As our community takes part in Election Day, we're reminded of the strength that comes from participation, respect, and unity. May we approach this day and every day with open minds, kind hearts, and a shared commitment to the common good. As Rotarians, may our discussions and actions be guided by integrity, fairness, and service above self. Let us continue to build bridges, seek understanding, and contribute to a community where every voice is valued. As we share this meal and this time together, let us remember those who may be facing challenges and renew our commitment to service above self. May each of us today bring hope, understanding, and unity to those we encounter. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you very much, Peter. All right, Sergeant at Arms with Allie Adams.
Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians, chatty Rotarians. We'll start with David, our president. He has a few guests.
All right, yeah, I'm pleased to announce 5 guests I have today. First is Dar Hupsch from Cape Fear Solar, residential solar developer. And then we have Austin Adams, from the owner of Cape Fear Adventures. Keisha Starr, owner of K-Star Consulting. Joel Smith, business development manager with Aloha Commercial Real Estate, and Amy Desai from Terracon. Please welcome them.
Mimi Cummings has a guest.
Thank you. I am very pleased to welcome as my guest today, Teresa Wolf. She is the executive director of Step Up. She's their 3rd executive director, a position she started in November of 24. She is a previous Rotarian from Durham and from San Jose, California. Welcome, Teresa.
Katie Corpening has a guest.
This is William Dickey, back for his 2nd meeting. He's an attorney with Kathleen Glancy, practicing in Social Security disability law. He's really having a fantastic time getting to know Rotarians. Came to our 5th Wednesday social, had a fantastic time, and so we've all been welcoming. So if we can give him another welcome. Thank you so much.
Lou, hopefully I get your last name right, DeGusto has a guest. Yes.
Fellow Rotarians, it's an honor to introduce Sydney Westmoreland from Cape Fear Community College, who's with us today. And Sydney really helps us with our multi-year scholarships to Cape Fear Community College. As you know, we work with the film crew there for our Leaders in Service film every year. And we're getting ready to award a scholarship to a film student from Cape Fear. So Sydney, thank you for all the help. Appreciate it.
Joe Owen has a guest.
My guest is Anna Brooks. I've known Anna since she was 5 years old. So she's now 15. When I joined my first Rotary Club in 1976, Anna's father and her grandfather were in that club. And I went home with her dad, and some of you know one of my hobbies was magic. So she remembers me doing magic tricks when she was 5 years old. Unfortunately, I can't remember it at 74. Anyway, give her a big welcome.
Gabe Rich as a guest.
Guest as my guest, and she works with Ukrainians of the Carolinas nonprofit, which we support through our international committee. And also announcing that there's a Ukrainian Christmas festival, November 22nd, 1 to 6 p.m. And that is where, Anastasia? Waterline Brewery. It's a very fun event, so come out on the 22nd.
Hanson Matthews.
Fellow Rotarians, for my magic trick today, I will make Montgomery Coudray reappear. She has been a guest before. She is a Wilmington native. She is an ECU grad, and she is in charge of business development for citrus cans. Make her welcome.
Lucy Holloman has a guest.
Good afternoon. I'm happy to introduce my friend and colleague Liz Steyer. Liz is the Associate Director of our Information Technology and Digital Strategies Department in the library. So many of you have been in Discovery Hall and seen all the cool high-tech things. That's all due to Liz and her team. So please welcome her.
And lastly, Owen Metz has a guest.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's my pleasure to be able to introduce to you the Executive Director of the Harrison Center, Meade Van Pelton. And I think that if Meade could say anything, she would invite all of you to the Thankful Hearts lunch that is coming up on November the 20th. And you can get your tickets from Meade, or you could go online to get your tickets as well. Meade Van Pelton.
All right, thank you, Amy. It's so glad to have, or Allie, it's so glad to have so many good guests here today. And Teresa, I was a member of the San Jose Rotary Club before I moved here. So yeah, welcome. All right, let's do health and happiness with Donna Cameron.
Good afternoon. It is so great to see everyone here today. And how nice is it to see this sunshine and stay out. Birthdays, listen up. Susan Harrell has a birthday tomorrow, November 5th. Susan, are you here? There she is. Happy birthday. Kat Mirnich on the 6th shares a birthday day with our very own Don McGlynn. So we have two Rotarians with birthdays on November 6th. Happy birthday to you both. Laura Lyle is celebrating a birthday on Friday. Laura, I know you're here. Where are you? Happy birthday. And Chad Pearson will celebrate a birthday November 10th. So we're excited for that. Membership anniversaries, Chris Sepich, who's running around. There he is. Happy anniversary. 1 year. You're an oldster now. And David Brown on the 5th, 6 years in our club. And Molly Shiflett on the 8th of November, 27 years in Rotary. 9 in our club and 18 years serving other Rotary clubs. Molly, are you here? Congratulations. On Happiness Today, our Terry Smith was recently appointed to serve on the board of the Juvenile Crime Prevention Council. As Terry shared, he now has the privilege of serving alongside fellow Rotarians, Jay Corpening and Chris Smith. And thank you to Rob Zappel and Jason Smith for your support. So congratulations to Terry. Very exciting and literally hot off the press. A new book called The Citizen Warrior, jointly authored by our own Rotarian, John Meyer, and our Legacy Award winner, Jean Merritt, is published today by Dram Tree Books of Wilmington. It describes how Wilmington and the region have transformed over the past 50 years by downtown revitalization, Interstate 40. Can you believe I work with people that don't know there was a time without I-40? But imagine that. And many other accomplishments, liquor by the drink being one of them. We are honored to have Jean with us today, and congratulations, John and Jean. And last but not least, our new member talk is Paul Niggl today. And Paul officially retired from the Marine Corps on Friday, October 31st, after serving for 20 years. Paul, thank you.
Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians. I just have a quick announcement that may, for somebody, need immediate action. There's a dark blue Acura, a modern one, with a license plate HAZ 2756, and it has a Carolina Beach license plate, kind of on the front, and then a PI, Pleasure Island sticker on the back. If you own that car, you need to please go down and move it. You inadvertently block somebody's driveway and they're about to have it towed. So, yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Good. Thank you, David. Yeah.
All right, look out. Those tow truck people, don't mess with them. All right. Paul Niggl is our new member who's going to do a new member talk for us. Go ahead, Paul.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Rotarians. My name is Paul Niggl. I was born in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada, and spent my formative years growing up in Alabama. I'm blessed to be married to my wife, Christina. We've been married for 14 years, 10 months, and 4 days. Try this, learn the days. We're raising 2 energetic young boys. Alec is 11 and Justice is 8. My family and I have called New Hanover County home since 2021. I joined the Rotary to serve my country and my community with all of you. When I was 18 years old in 2005, I enlisted in the United States Marine Corps as an infantryman. 4 days ago, I retired from the Marine Corps as a major and an intelligence officer. Service above self is a principle that my family and I strive to embody, and it's been a core principle in our family for the last 15 years. One event 15 years ago last month completely shaped my perspective on service and the courage that service requires. On October 15th, 2010, 24-year-old Marine Lance Corporal James Belk was on patrol and sang in Afghanistan. He was with Kilo Company, 3rd Battalion, 5th Marines, when he stepped on the explosive device that ended his short life. A world away in Northern Virginia, on October 15th, 2010, I turned 24 years old. I was a Marine sergeant and I'd already seen combat in Iraq. I was engaged to Christina. James was her older brother. We were preparing that night to attend a Navy and Marine Corps birthday ball. That was until a Navy chaplain and a Marine knocked on her parents' door in Manassas, Virginia. Several weeks later, James was laid to rest in Quantico National Cemetery. And James, his father, David, Christina's father, his name's David, asked her just a dreadful question. Are you sure you still want to marry Paul? Are you sure you want to take this risk? To his 20-year-old daughter. And she said yes. This was after we were engaged. But this was before we said our vows. But on January 1st, 2011, we stood in the same church and we vowed to have and hold each other in sickness and in health, for better, for worse, till death do us part, in the same church where her brother's funeral occurred 2.5 months before. From that day until today, my wife, Christina, has demonstrated unparalleled courage through deployments, through injuries, through surgeries, through recoveries, through moves abroad, moves back home. She is who I want to emulate when it comes to courage. Christina taught me that service above self is more than just a motto, more than just an ideal. Service above self is the way to live a full and meaningful life. Thank you for letting me share just part of my story and telling you about the most courageous person I've ever met. I'm excited to work alongside you as we serve our community together. Thank you. Thank you.
I love these new member talks. We have so many great new members joining our club with so many great stories to share. And thank you, Paul, for sharing with us that great story. Okay, so a couple things we're doing. Dory Bashara and the community service team, we're doing our food drive today and next week and the week after. So there's flyers on your table with what we need for that. And we'll be taking that over to the food bank in a couple weeks. And then next week, we're also doing a coat drive. So again, there's details about that. So please bring some coats next week that are going to go to First Fruit Ministries. And then on the 15th of November, our district is doing a foundation dinner at the Mad Boar, and our club is going to be recognized for being one of the top donors to the foundation. So we'd love to have you there joining us and watch us be recognized for that. There'll be details about it in my email on Friday. And all right, Terry Smith is going to come up and talk about next week's program, which is our Veterans Program and associated Veterans Day activities.
Thank you, President David. Terry Everett couldn't be here today, so she just wanted me to remind you that this Saturday is Veterans Day and the Veterans Day Parade, and it's supposed to be such a beautiful day. We hadn't done it in a couple of years, but if any veterans would like to ride in the parade, we're going to make arrangements to have a car in the parade and have some Rotary veterans there attend. There are sign-up sheets. I looked there on most of the tables to put your name. Also, too, if you want to attend a lunch at Terry's house after the parade, there's a column for that. And then next Tuesday is our Veterans Day ceremony, and lunch will be here. So just look for these or find one on the table and sign up. Thank you.
All right, thanks a lot. And thank you to both Terrys for putting on that great program and doing everything to recognize our veterans. And if you are a veteran in our club, thank you for your service. Really appreciate it. And we look forward to honoring you at our program next week. All right, David Brown is going to come up and talk about it's that time of the year to go out and do some bell ringing with the Salvation Army. So David, take it away.
Hello, I know I'm not a familiar face around here, but I am a member and I'm here to announce the Salvation Army bell ringing campaign for this year. The holidays aren't busy enough for you. I'm going to ask you to do some more stuff. Every year we staff a bell ringing station at the Sam's Club at the exit door every Tuesday between Thanksgiving and Christmas. So they start at 9 a.m. and they end at 6 p.m. I think by the time we put 2 people per hour, so 1 hour shifts. And then by the end of the day, by the end of the month, we'll need 72 people to sign up for slots. So I have created a Sign Up Genius link that President Grandy will send out in his email. So please take the time to sign up for a couple of shifts, wear your Rotary gear, Santa hat, and just have some fun. Thank you.
All right, thank you, David. And a big thank you to our Leaders in Service Committee and the leaders that we have here and the big program that we do and all of you for supporting that program. And so today is our annual leadership program, and here to get things rolling is Bob Kitchen.
Okay, can you hear me? Yeah, today we want to recognize our Leaders in Service from 2025. It's really a great program. I like it so much that it aligns with our service above self as Rotarians. I'd like to ask Jean and Margaret and Ben to come up front for a few minutes. You know, what these folks have done and continue to do is really remarkable achievements. First of all, can you even imagine what Wilmington would be like if we didn't have downtown area revitalization? Or if we had a coal pile at the location where the convention center is today? Well, Gene couldn't imagine that either. So Gene did a lot of things. He took charge and led a effort to establish the downtown area revitalization, and in fact led that for many years. He also was instrumental working with state leaders to get I-40 extended, and yes, there was a time when we didn't have one, extended into Wilmington. And then he developed a strategy to prevent a coal terminal, a coal pile being in downtown Wilmington. So great things done by Gene. And by the way, congratulations on your book. I knew it was coming, didn't know it was today. But Margaret has been the leader. Margaret, I can tell. Margaret has been a leader of Coastal Horizons for quite some time, but when she started with Coastal Horizons, it was just a local nonprofit, very reputable nonprofit, but in our county, mental health support, substance abuse support, and primary health care. But under her leadership, and she set a very high standard for quality. Anybody that comes through their doors, she says, will get assistance if they're in need from someone in their organization, or if that's not the case, a partner organization. And they have held to that and had tremendous growth. They now are in 58 counties, which is amazing, and a state leader in that area. What really impressed me is over 15,000 people get helped every year by Coastal Horizons. Just tremendous work by Margaret and her team. So thank you very much. Good job. And a man who needs no introduction, but always gets one anyway. Ben David, as of course we all know, is an active member of our club, and Ben has just done so many things for the community in his role. 20 years as a district attorney. And you know, what's really, tells a story about a successful district attorney in my mind. Here's a man who took that job and looked at ways not only to deal with people who were criminals, but how to better the community and improve our life here. And under his leadership, I think violent crime dropped by 43%, which is just an amazing number. So what did he learn from that? He said, well, we learned to fight crime by building community. And he's carried that forward to the Community Justice Center, where that's really the effort to provide a one-stop shop for people who are in trouble from abuse or violence can come in and get assistance. And not only social assistance, but also legal assistance to deal with those who need legal attention. So Ben has done a great job with that. We really appreciate that. And I appreciate you all being here. I know you're very busy individuals. We just wanted to show you these plaques. Get over here out of the way. These plaques, the one on the left here is a Legacy Award. We add the names of our Legacy Award honorees. Right now, Gene, congratulations, you're number 2. But that's an award that we started 2 years ago and really represents a high achievement. So your name has been added to that plaque. In our Leaders in Service Award plaque, this is now our 5th year for Leaders in Service. Margaret, Ben, and Chip Mahan's names have been added here for Leaders in Service honor. So we'll keep these plaques here to remind us of our service above self and the importance and the significance of what community leaders can do in our community in terms of improving our life. And we really do appreciate what you guys do each and every day. So anyway, let's recognize these folks for what they deserve. Thank you very much. And Donna's going to recognize the other side of this. You know, our Leaders in Service is a twofer. Of course, most importantly, we want to recognize community leaders, but also we have sponsors at all levels and a number of sponsors. But today we just wanted to recognize the major sponsors for the help that they give us. And of course, all of the funds raised from Leaders in Service go to our nonprofit organizations in the community. It does not support this club operation at all. So Donna?
Thank you, Bob, very much. It's so rewarding, y'all. Just today, one of our visitors, Montgomery Coudray, said, "So Donna, what is Leaders in Service?" And I love it when she asked that. There she is, because I really feel like I get to really brag about my Rotary family. This is our one and only fundraiser all year. And fundraisers come in all shapes and sizes. We know that, and they're all well intended. But our Rotary chose 5 years ago a gentleman, Dale Smith, seated right behind me, was determined, or in front of me, was determined to find a way to pull this all together. And he really brought this to life. So Leaders in Service is what we do to recognize the achievements of extraordinary people in this community and let the whole world know about it. And so in this room, we have you all. We're so thankful for you to be here, our sponsors, and we want to recognize you. And the first group I want to say thank you to is we have a lot of what we call friends in this room that have given at the $1,000 level and at other levels. So please join me in a round of applause for all the friends in this room. And we've got our board here and in the front, but I'd like to recognize our major sponsors. Our silver sponsors donated $2,500. And if you are here when I call your name, please stand. Vinton Fountain of Cap Trust, Reed Murkison of the Murkison Group, Sam Blair of Baker Roofing, Sydney Westmoreland, Cape Fear Community College, Mary Dennison Clark of Boney Decor Solution, Kristen McPeters of Novant, Kyle Metzer G of Encino, Brian Thomas of Monteith Construction, Yusri Saeed of Quality Chemical, David Swain of Swain and Associates, and Zeb Hadley of National Coatings. Please join me to thank our silver sponsors. Our gold sponsors, Dr. Aswani Valetti, Dr. Tracy Linderholm. I know there's Tracy. And Dr. Rob Burris, all, of course, the University of North Carolina, Wilmington. I like to say the whole name. We thank you. And certainly Craig Snow of the Greater Wilmington Business Journal. Thank you. And last but not least, our platinum sponsors, $10,000 for Leaders in Service. Please join me in thanking Charles Mintz and David Thomas of Raymond James. Thank you so much. Ryan Legg of Megacorp. And John and Pat Hatcher. We could not do this without your community support. It takes a true village to make this happen. Thank you from the bottom of each of our hearts. And last, quick commercial. 'Tis the season for nominations. And we would love it if you would give this prayerful thought. This is important to what we're doing every single day, and there are so many servants in this community. So we need your help to know who they are and what they're doing. And you can find the nomination information on the Leaders in Service website. And that includes everyone. So guests, please know we'd love for you to nominate. But thank you and have a blessed day.
Thank you, Donna. Pleased to introduce our speaker today, Dr. Rebecca Guidice. I can't say Giudice. So anyway, Becky is a professor of management at University of North Carolina, Wilmington, and she's also the director of the executive MBA program at the Cameron School of Business. Her research and teaching expertise are in strategic management, leadership and change, and research design and methods. Becky earned her PhD from Washington State University. She has faculty positions at Ole Miss, University of Nevada, Las Vegas, and UNCW, as well as served as a global scholar at Kennesaw State University's PhD program. When she's not working, Becky spends her outdoors enjoying activities like biking, hiking, and going to the beach, as well as traveling domestically and internationally. Priest Lake, Idaho, as well as Lake Como, Italy, and Lake Garda are among her favorite and most peaceful getaway destinations. She has one son who is a firefighter. She's also an identical twin. And one thing that she told me is that Ancestry DNA reports that her twin sister is actually the mother of her daughter. So much for DNA testing. Becky. Welcome, Becky, please.
Well, thank you very much for having me here today. It's an honor to be able to speak with all of you. Because I'm a professor, of course, there's going to be PowerPoints. It just has to be that way. But I was thought about my charge today as I was preparing for this presentation, and it's, you know, to recognize the honorees of the Leaders in Service honorees. And I was thinking, where do I start? And what came to mind is the 4 questions that you all answer in the Rotary when you're making decisions. Is it the truth? Is it fair? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And is it beneficial to all? What I thought I would do is I would focus my presentation, and as I'm thinking about the honorees, on the 3rd and the 4th points about bringing goodwill, friendship, and benefits. Also, as I was preparing my presentation, I started looking back at the profiles of the different honorees, the past all the way to our current ones, and boy, are they talented. And one thing came to mind is that as I looked at their backgrounds, the truisms of John Maxwell, Nelson Mandela, and Simon Sinek all just kept coming to my mind. They epitomize so many of these laws, lessons, and principles. So that's how I organized my presentation. As we go through some of these laws and lessons, you know, I'd like you to even be thinking about how do these, because they are being practiced by our honorees, how do they answer that question of, yes, we create goodwill, friendships, and beneficial outcomes for all. Okay, some other things as we're getting started here. The lessons and laws that we'll talk about here today, they can all be learned. Some are easier to understand and apply than others, but competence in each is possible. All of them stand alone. They complement each other, but you don't need one to be able to learn and practice the other. They all carry consequences. If you lead with them, others will follow. If you violate or ignore them, followers won't be around for very long. And finally, all of our honorees, past and present, exemplify these laws, lessons, and principles. So let's get started on this journey. What I thought we could start with is Simon Sinek and his principle of leadership, start with why. Start with why has been seen as a philosophy of leadership. It's depicted as a circle with 3 rings, the what, the how, and the why. We want to focus in on the why because that's what really drives our successful leaders. It's their fundamental purpose, what motivates them. It is their North Star or their compass, if you will, when they're making decisions. Simon Sinek reminds us that, you know, a lot of times when we go to talk with the community, we start with the what we do, and then maybe talk about how we do it. And we gloss over the why, but that's so important. And that's one thing our honorees, I am very confident, do. They start with that why. And because of that, they have followers, individuals that are willing to help them pursue their goals. Simon Sinek also talked to us about the law of diffusion. I like this law a lot. It applies to many, many things, but in particular, when you have an innovative idea, an innovative service that you want to offer, what leaders tend to do is they think, I need to focus in. I can't get everyone in the community to join me, you know, right at this very moment. And the law of diffusion says that's correct. Don't try and get everybody on board at once. You need to focus on a select few, the early adopters. I am sure that that's what our leaders in service have done as well. They spread or they start with their why with those early adopters. Those early adopters love values, and the values are the why. They also love to do things that are changing. This is right up their alley then. And they also like to be able to spread the word. So they will help get that new idea out into the community. So what can we do now? We've got Simon Sinek, a law under our belt, and we also have his principle. I thought let's turn to John Maxwell for a few minutes and let's talk about some laws that we can find there. The law of connection being one of those. So if you want people on your side, don't try to convince them, connect with them. touch their heart before you ask for a hand. This is what John Maxwell advises us to do. He says that people won't go along if they cannot get along with you. He says credibility comes from showing genuine care and really demonstrating that you want to help others. That's what our leaders in service do. They go to those early adopters and they convince them to come along. They tell them the why and they start moving forward. Some things that they'll think about as they're looking to build connections. There's many, but and I've given you nothing now that I see here. It's all a mystery. Here we go. They do several different things, but one of them is they know their audience. They will learn names. They will learn histories. They may learn what people are passionate about, what their strengths are. That's how they build those connections. They will go to where the followers are, right? They're going to remove tangible and intangible barriers so they can build that relationship. They will focus on followers. And when they do that, they use the motto, we, not me. They offer direction and hope because hope provides a future. And finally, they communicate openly and sincerely. Effective leaders in service also recognize that followers first need to buy into the individual, then their vision, their why. Leaders can have a wonderful, great cause, but you don't always get people to follow until they're willing to follow you, the leader. The good news is that our leaders in service have been able to do that. They live the law of buy-in. People have bought into them and their ideas. And because of that, these stakeholders have done things like become committee members, organized events, helped plan for future events, as well as participated in their programs. Now, I've mentioned that the laws can stand alone, but they don't necessarily have to. The law of connection is one where one of the bullet points that I didn't show you is that you need to live your message. You need to practice what you preach. Well, this goes right along with John Maxwell's law of the picture. Successful leaders follow those who see them as people of character because character matters. The most valuable gift a leader can give is to be a good example. Leadership is caught more than it is taught, and it's caught by just watching exemplary leaders in action. That is what our honorees have done. They've provided a living picture that produces energy, passion, and motivation to keep going, even when we're tired, when resources are in short supply, or when some challenge that we weren't expecting gets in our way. You've probably heard the saying, birds of a feather flock together. I notice when I'm at the beach, one of the places I like to be, where there's some really great surfers, there's a whole bunch of great surfers. They're hanging out together. If you like to go to an improv club, you'll find some really talented comedians who hang out afterwards with other gifted comedians. Leaders do the same thing. If you want to build a good team, remember the law of magnetism. Teams are an extension of their leaders' personality, attitudes, energy, values, and various other talents. The Rotary provides a wonderful opportunity for leaders of a unique quality to come together. We're right here in this room right now. We're birds of a feather who flock together. Now, there's no doubt that the laws discussed so far matter, but it's also important to emphasize that leaders do not succeed alone. Without a good team, leaders don't get the opportunity to lead in a way that enables their organization to perform at a high level. That brings us to the law of the inner circle. A leader's potential is determined by those who are closest to him or her. They are also very intentional in who they bring into the inner circle. They'll ask numerous questions to themselves and with others as they're building that team. It could be things like, will that person have influence with others? Does that person bring a complementary strength that's going to help fill a gap in our organization? Do they display excellence, maturity, and good character in everything they do? John Maxwell tells us that to maximize your potential as a leader, Build your group with the best leaders you can find. I suspect that our honorees would agree with me, and they didn't succeed alone. And because of this, they share credit with all the members of their team that they intentionally built. Now, interestingly, Mandela has a lesson, keep friends close, which complements this last law. Mandela believed that friendships must be nurtured. He said that when you have strong supporters, your friends, they will provide not only diverse perspectives and insights, but they'll also provide realistic feedback, something that we oftentimes need. They'll also be there for emotional support, help you build your network, and also be among those early adopters in the law of diffusion. Let's assume for a minute that my clicker is working. And there we go. Okay. Oh, yes. Okay. So we're moving along the diffusion curve. We've got the early adopters on board. What our leaders have now done, they've brought on the early majority and the late majority. What these honorees have realized at this point, they not only need to lead from the front, they also need to lead from the back. Those are words from Mandela as well. When they lead from the front, they lead by example, being bold and visible. Sometimes they'll act independently and they'll be criticized for it, but it's for the greater good. They won't leave their followers behind. They'll be pragmatic. They'll emphasize practicality and results over idealism and rigid adherence to some theory. Their decisions will be based on evidence and experience, not an abstract principle. When they lead from the back, they'll empower others to make decisions, to take ownership of those decisions, and to build their confidence in their leadership skills. They'll encourage those individuals to collaborate and to capitalize on the different points of view and areas of expertise before they make a decision. Now, naturally, leading from the front, it can be risky. It can even be scary. But this is our next lesson that our honorees, I'm sure, are familiar with. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's learning to overcome it. Courage is a learned behavior. It's cultivated through experience and self-discipline in reactions. Leaders of service recognize their fear and they use it as a motivation to be prepared, thoroughly prepared, and to act decisively. They master their reactions, they maintain composure, and this is useful for the followers because it communicates to them it's going to be okay. I want to jump back to the law of magnetism, the birds of a feather, because one thing we also know is that courage is contagious. So it isn't uncommon to see leaders of courage hanging out with other leaders of courage. They're in the room right now. Regardless of whether it's from the front or the back, successful leaders also appreciate the law of sacrifice. The life of a leader can look glamorous, at least from the outside. But in reality, leadership requires sacrifice, oftentimes an investment in time, commitment, energy, social capital, and human capital, much more so than what's required of followers. It's an ongoing investment to move the organization forward. Opportunities must be foregone. Sometimes we don't get to do the hobbies that we want or spend as much time with family as we would like. But in the long run, the benefits exceed the costs. Of the honorees that you know, what did they sacrifice to see their why come true? I'm confident that the honorees, and really anybody in this room, you probably all have had that moment where you have realized, yes, I need to know when to say no. Right? Effective leaders must make tough calls, and they must stand by those calls, even in the face of criticism. They can't offer false hope. They have to stay firm in their convictions. It communicates integrity. This decisiveness, while sometimes disappointing, at least in the short term, it earns respect and it prevents misunderstandings over the long term. These leaders also realize that they have to pick their battles wisely. Not everything has to have a firm stance. Not every issue requires a no, right? Flexibility is important as well. Now, complementing this previous lesson is another of Mandela's lessons. It's a long game. We must remember that meaningful change takes time to gain momentum. It requires commitment, patience, persistence, it also requires knowing that the short-term setbacks, it's not necessarily going to derail the organization in the long run. It probably won't. It's just part of that process. Effective leaders of service practice this lesson because it helps them stay focused on the bigger picture. It helps them prioritize the greater good over short-term gain. As I near the end, let me highlight a lesson and a law that make a very similar point. The first is Mandela's lesson, quitting is leading to. This doesn't mean giving up, hardly, not at all, right? What it means is how you leave leadership is as important as how you lead. Knowing that leaving is a strategic choice demonstrates that the leader has humility, has foresight, and commitment to the greater good. Successful leaders in service prepare others to take over and sustain the organization's progress. They do this by planning for succession, by mentoring others, by promoting younger people from within the organization. And then they know when to step back and make room for those others. And then we have one last law from John Maxwell, the law of legacy. Everyone has a legacy. You and I will be judged by how well the people we've invested in carry on after we're gone. I like this saying from John Maxwell. Your life is a book. Your title is your name. And the pages are the cheat sheet right there, a daily record of your accomplishments, your challenges, your efforts, your pleasures. The leaders in service and all the people in this room, sponsors in particular, you'll each leave a book containing a record. It'll be a record of noble purpose, of generous service, and a job well done. Now, as a close, I want to thank the honorees and all of you here today who have demonstrated the ability to lead yourself and lead others. And I would argue with our honorees, past and present, because they lived the laws, the lessons, the principles that we've talked about here today, they have, I would say, demonstrated the ability to build goodwill and better friendships and to do things that are beneficial to all that are concerned. It's because of this that Wilmington and the region is such a fabulous place to live. Thank you. If there are any questions, we can do that. I need this to happen after every class where I need to tell everybody we do an applause.
Good afternoon, Dr. Guidice.
There we go. Hello.
I'm Robin Robinson, and just a point of personal privilege. My son, UNCW class of 2020, she was his advisor, and it was during a very fraught time. My husband, his dad died during the time he was at UNCW, and then we had COVID. So there were lots of challenges for that whole era, and my son in particular. But thank you for taking good care of James Robinson. Special point of privilege.
Did he go to Australia with me?
He did go to Australia with you. Yes.
Oh my goodness gracious. Send him my best. Yes.
I will.
Yes.
Thank you. And I'd like to say he's taken to heart a lot of what you've said.
Wonderful.
But I wanted to just, because of that tie-in I have with her, I wanted to just ask how you would say this same talk to 20-year-olds.
Well, it is interesting. When I teach, it's been a year or two, but I do teach the leadership and change to students that are concentrating in leadership. And I use the 21 laws of leadership and extreme ownership. I don't use textbooks. To me, leadership isn't in a textbook. So I like to turn to practitioners that have done done things well. A a lot of conversations. I tend to make them lead the discussion. I'll bring the information to you now. Tell me how you're going to apply it. Because I think when they have to stop and really talk about it, hopefully they'll walk away and they'll do more with it. So I don't know if that quite answers the question, but it's more challenging.
So when you're in Lake Como, do you hang out with George Clooney?
No, I don't. But
No, thank you. It was a great presentation. And I was kind of curious too, how this kind of whole philosophy, everything is indoctrinated, you know, at the master's level or, you know, with all the academic area. I think it's such an important thing that you and UNCW does to build leaders. So thank y'all.
oh, thank you. Thank you.
I found it interesting today that your trajectory of becoming a leader seems to follow some politicians' grassroots movements. Do you feel like some of those politicians are embracing this as like part of their campaign style? Because it seems to be very similar to even what's happening in New York City.
You know, I steer away from politics.
Well, but
that
idea of like, yeah. Just it's the idea of that resonating today. It seemed appropriate.
I'd say it's there on both sides and it's not there on both. That's I think everyone has the potential to be an effective leader. Everyone is a leader in some form or fashion and probably better in certain situations than others. Yeah, I know it's voting day and all of that. My big thing too is that I'm always in the classroom, anything that especially with MBAs, I don't ever want a conversation to go down the political lens because I don't want to be divisive. And that's not meant anything towards you, but that's just kind of my personal practice because I want us to, find areas of common ground, which I think we all can. And I think if we do practice a lot of those laws, finding the connection in particular, right? Let's find where we have areas that overlap, where we can understand each other and we're curious and we listen, then every leader will be the same.
Thank you for your presentation. I had the opportunity to go back to grad school after being in business for about 15 years. Could you give us a 60-second commercial on the executive MBA program at UNCW?
Well, it's awesome. I would tell you, one of our guests here today, Liz Steyer, went through the executive MBA program, and she was amazing. She was also, along with working full time, she also was an amazing student, but also was the president of the MBA Association, student led. So it's a leader in the room. But it's a wonderful organization with the executive MBA because not only do you get the fundamentals, you are working alongside very talented students. They on average have 11 years they're entering the program, 11 years of practical experience, but many have much more, ranging many, many industries. Our executive MBA program, though, you get to have 2 residencies in person on weekends, once in the spring, once in the fall, all with leadership, soft skill development workshops. And then we have 1 week-long consulting project, legitimate, real consulting project. We either go internationally or we bring the international to us. We just did one in August here where our colleagues from the University of Surrey brought MBAs over, worked with us, and we solved a legitimate issue within one of an organization here in UNCW. But boy, I tell you, it's so fun when I do those because we get to just sit back and watch the magic be made because the talent that is in our EMBA program is amazing. So there's a little more in 60 minutes, or 60 seconds, so going on 60 minutes, I guess. So thank you.
All right, Becky, thank you so much for being here. And as a thank you to you, we've made a donation in your name to Habitat for Humanity to provide essential materials to build homes, hope, and community for those that are hardworking families in our neighborhood. So, And we have a lot of twins in the room. Ben, Richard, Margaret, Becky. My daughters are twins. Anybody else have twins? Clint? Joe? My goodness, don't drink the water around here, guys. All right. Yeah, so thank you all for being here today. Margaret, Jean, Ben, congratulations again. Thanks for being here. Thank you to our sponsors for showing up today as well. Thank you for all the guests that are here. Joel and Montgomery, welcome back. Glad to have you guys back. And just a reminder, next week, Terry Everett is going to be doing our Veterans Day program, our special Veterans Day program. And she's really thrown out the red carpet to honor our veterans. So please come to that. And she has served for over 3 decades in 3 different federal government organizations, and she's going to be talking about intelligence support for veterans. So should be a great program. And then we're doing the food drive again next week, along with the coat drive. And with the food drive, we'll take cash and checks too. I mean, anything's good. So so bring what you got, and let's see if we can make a difference out there. All right, Clint, let's do the raffle.
There's $60 in the raffle pot. Half of that goes to Alzheimer's research. The other half goes to the ticket winner, 7748.
All right. All right, let's stand and in our meeting with the reciting of the 4-way test of the things we think, say, and do. First, second, they're all concerned. Third, building better friendship. Fourth, official, all concerned. Rotary.